Hey everyone, I hope you're hanging in better than I am as Tuesday approaches. And nothing like a little self-medication to get you through what is bound to be just a miserable 24 hours. So without further ado, let's get into the cocktails for Tuesday. So we're gonna start with a Mai Tai, and this one is called Anti-falernum. And it is, I wanted to start with just a very classic kind of a prototypical tiki drink so that, you could briefly pretend that you are on an island. This one is modified with a little bit of falernum just so that I could go with that pun, which I am very excited about. The cocktail dates back to 1944, and you might have heard of Trader Vic's, which is a tiki bar. I think there's a couple of them, but Trader Vic was an actual guy, and he's the inventor of the Mai Tai, and the name came because when he whipped up the drink for the first time and served it, I want to say in the South Pacific, it might have been in the Pacific Theater that it was created. And the way that whoever enjoyed the drink at the time, the language that they spoke, it sounded like Mai Tai, and it was their way of saying that it was delicious. And so that's the kind of well understood history of the drink. So this is the first one. Like I said, tiki drink. It'll be the most opaque, kind of yellow tiki looking cocktail. And half of this just goes into a shaker, and we'll shake up half of it like usual. So the ingredients in this, there's a light rum, a dark rum, a little Orgeat, which is a standard tiki syrup that's made from almonds or almond milk that's sweetened with a little bit of orange flower water added in there, as well as, like I said, falernum, some lime, and a little bit of dry Curaçao to finish it. So we'll shake it up. You want to shake it to where it kind of sounds like a snowball, because with this one, you are doing what we call in bartending parlance, pouring dirty, which means you're not using fresh ice. You're just using the ice that was in the shaker because it should hopefully be cracked already. If you have, that's because my fridge doesn't make cracked ice. If you have cracked ice at home, then you can certainly do it that way instead or as well. So just gonna add a little bit more ice to top it off. This one has a very fun garnish to it. So there's going to be a hollowed out lime in your garnish bag. You can either do it this way with the peel out, or you can push it back the other way and do it inside this one. So I'm going to do it with the peel out. And your garnish bag will contain a little container like this, and it has overproof rum in it that you're going to light on fire. So this is actually overproof whiskey. It's not as high proof, so I hope that this works, but we'll see together. Pour all of that in there. With a match, you always want to let it burn a little bit, just so you don't get any of those chemicals. Okay, just trying to light. There it goes. And if you want to do a little bit of cinnamon in there, you can see you get a nice little flame effect. And then if I were you, I'd just extinguish it by, I should have gotten a bigger glass for this one. Extinguish it by putting it into the drink. So I'm gonna set this aside. Actually, I'm gonna drink a little bit of it. Oh, no, I'm not. Learn from my mistakes. We don't get it right the first time. Thank you, Katie. Second drink is a version, it's called the Kamalaommunist, and it is a play on a vintage cocktail from 1933 called the Communist. The drink, I couldn't pass up that, doing a riff on that drink. Like I said in the email, it called originally in 1933 for gin, orange juice, lemon juice, and then some cherry liqueur, cherry brandy. And orange juice is notoriously awful to work with in cocktails. It's really thin, it doesn't have much flavor, it's not high in acidity, so it doesn't balance out sweetness that well. So I wanted to do if you have been doing these drinks for a while, you know that one of my favorite things to do is to invert shaken and stirred drinks. So drinks that are shaken, which typically means that they call for citrus or they have other kind of juice in them. That's why you shake it up, just to aerate that juice. And if your drink calls for just booze, typically, you stir that drink because you don't really want to aerate it. You want that silky texture to it. So this one was originally a shaken drink. I wanted to make it a stirred drink and then modify the proportions a little bit. So instead of the orange juice, I substituted orange Curaçao. I'm using the Pierre Ferrand dry Curaçao. This is a absolutely beautiful Curaçao made in Southwest France from a producer that is most well known for making cognac. And they ship in Valencia oranges, I believe, and it's all real ingredients. It produces a just really beautiful, like authentic orange flavor that I often find myself adding when I'm unsure of what to add to a cocktail. My friends make fun of me, bartending friends make fun of me that I typically reach for the dry Curaçao. So with this one, it's gin, dry Curaçao to substitute the orange juice, as I mentioned, some cherry liqueur, and then finally I did some clarified lemon juice. So that's a process, because you can see that this drink is clear and because I wanted it to be a stirred drink, if I added fresh lemon juice to it, it would be cloudy because of the particulate that's in there. So through a process of citrus clarification, so this is lemon juice, and I used a product called agar-agar, which is a hydrocolloid that is derived from seaweed. And sometimes vegans or vegetarians will use it in the place of gelatin. And what happens is when you hydrate it and then mix it into the lemon, it binds to all those solids and then pulls them out of solution. Kind of similar to the milk clarification the other day, but this is just for one ingredient rather than the whole drink, and it doesn't leave behind any milk proteins. So I clarified the lemon juice. That way you could have a stirred drink with some citrus in there, and it wouldn't be cloudy, and it would have that silky kind of consistency that we want in a stirred drink. So stir in a mixing glass like this. You've heard me mention before, if you don't have a mixing glass, just use a tin or even like a deli container. And if you don't have a bar spoon, just use a chopstick and it'll get the job done. But stir it up, and then you can either serve it up or you can serve it over ice if you want. I want this one up, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pour that out like that. This time I got it all on the glass. So that is the Kamalaommunist. Drink doesn't roll off the tongue as well as I hoped. The final one is a drink that I did for my 2016 menu, and it was a joke at the time, and now it feels a lot less like a joke. And it's called the Contingency Plan, and it has Canadian whiskey, some smoked maple syrup, and then Bitter Tears brand Tamarind and Cacao bitters. So this is just an old-fashioned variation that has a little bit of smoke to it. Smoke it can destroy your palate in the sense of like if you drink a smoky cocktail first and try and go on to something different, it doesn't taste as good because it like kind of coats your palate. So I don't like smoke flavors, so don't expect this one to be like incredibly smoky, like a mezcal drink or a scotch drink, because that's not the style that I like to make. But there is a little bit of smoke flavor to it. You can certainly notice it. So this one, I'm just gonna make it easy and I'm just gonna build it over ice. So I'm gonna pour about half and give it a quick stir with my other spoon. And that's it. As mentioned in the email, we had initially thought, we meaning my girlfriend and I, who showed up to drink some Mai Tai, we had originally thought of doing highbrow, lowbrow, so fancy cocktails, and then just like, shots to get you through the night if need be. And that kind of morphed into, highbrow, kind of. So there are 3 options of Jello shots this week to add on. I think we're doing all 6, so 2 of each flavors for $6, just, as a fun add-on. In there. They're not going to be made with Everclear or 151 or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about consuming more alcohol than you want. They'll be made with, I want to say, it's gin, Jameson, and then there's one that I'm forgetting. Tequila, yeah, Altos Blanco or Espolón, one of those 2. So if you want to add those on, we will certainly throw them in the order as well. Just let us know. And otherwise, I will see you all in 3 weeks unless, I don't know, something awful happens. So cheers. I will deliver on Tuesday afternoon, the day of the election, to give me something to do. I hope you all are hanging in there, and I hope to be in a much better mood in 2 weeks when I make cocktails for my regular Monday. Cheers.